Good morning and welcome to SimWorld today here on the September 11th. I am Marshall, I'm not Marshall, I'm Marsh, joined this morning by B-Ron. Good morning, B-Ron.
Hey, Marsh. Good morning, man. It's good to be here with you on this Wednesday. It's been a while. I feel like it's been a while since we've been together on a show, but maybe I'm
Been a
crazy. I don't
couple
know.
weeks. It's been a
Yeah.
couple weeks. I missed that charcoal background of yours, so very happy to see you back. We got plenty to get to, so we're gonna jump right in. We're
Yeah.
talking some college hoops, but we're gonna start with SWBA, where Adam Silver had his introductory, or not introductory, season beginning, I guess, press conference in which the topic of expansion was discussed. Where Adam Silver said it was not discussed during the league meetings. However, he did say it's something they plan to address this season. So, B-Run, this has been floating over the SWBA for years. The idea of expansion to 32 teams. Your thoughts? Do you think this is coming, and when?
I do think it's coming. When? That's the big question, right? Let's give it 2 more seasons, and we'll see the expansions. I say that because these things take some time to go through, and I'm sure there has to be a plan for a teams in place and stadiums and all that stuff. So I'd imagine it's going to take some time for all that to come together. So I would say within the next 2 seasons, we see something more concrete on expansion as far as where it's going to be, who the team's going to be, how the draft's going to work, all that stuff. So I think all that will take some time. So 2 more seasons out.
And where would you expect it to end up?
So bias here would say Seattle because they've been lacking for basketball for quite some time since Sonics left all those years ago. So that would be my first option, but it also wouldn't surprise me to see a team go to Las Vegas either, just because of the way everything is going with Vegas and betting taking over sports and all that. I don't want to talk about that too much, but Seattle and Vegas are my 2 picks right now for expansion. So if they're going to go 32, one of those places.
Yeah, well, it certainly is coming because you're probably looking at a $5 billion price tag for these teams, maybe 6. I mean, you look at the cost that people are paying for new teams is 3 to 4, and you're going to be putting it likely in a market where you're going to get an immediate chance to succeed, and plus you get a seat at the table. The owners, they're obviously going to want this because this is money that does not go to the players. The
Yeah, of
CBA,
course
the
I
way it's
know.
broken out, is 50-50. It is not inclusive of expansion. So it's a financial move that is definitely going to appear before long. I think you're right on Seattle. I think you're right that Las Vegas has been very popular on this one. I would not be surprised because there's a interesting infatuation with international sports from both the SWFL and SWBA. Mexico City is going to be brought up, I think, quite a bit because they're going to want to try to take a pie out of that or a
Yep.
piece out of that pie internationally. I don't think it makes any sense to do that. I wouldn't be surprised if we also hear some rumblings about somewhere like Vancouver being a
Yeah.
potential return destination. Of course, the
Possible.
Grizzlies were there prior to Memphis. I also wouldn't be surprised if Kansas City and or Nashville. I think one thing to keep in mind or keep an eye on for Kansas City is what goes on with the Chiefs. I'm not saying they're going anywhere, but there's some interesting discussions, let's say, being had about the future of their stadium. And so I could see that play and benefit to the SWBA, where they say, well, look, if the Chiefs are maybe on the verge of something different, do we have a chance to get in there and be? Because what the league likes to be is the only show in town. And obviously, you're not going to be that in every single market. Uh,
Right. Yeah.
Las Vegas has had this influx of professional sports. Obviously, basketball right now is the only non-pending or active team in Las Vegas. I would not be surprised if the SWBA turns around and says, "Look, we can't be the only people around. We've got the Golden Knights who are awesome, and it's much harder to build a team from scratch in the SWBA than it is the SWHL." I wouldn't be surprised if they say we have our influence in Las Vegas with Summer League and the in-season tournament, and they look elsewhere. Vegas has been at the top of every single list, every single conversation. I just don't know if that ends up being the final destination, being wrong. Because of that fact that the league is there in other facets. Why do they need to be there every single night when you've actually got some legitimate competition beyond the fact that it's Las Vegas and that in and of itself is the competition for eyes?
Yeah, and I mean to counter that point, I mean the simple argument is why not? Because you have all those things around you already with all of the
Sure.
you know hotels, all the other sports in the area too, between college basketball, you mentioned hockey, the Raiders are there now too. So, you have a stadium which I think is too big for basketball. But you could use it if you need
Whose
to in the
stadium are you talking
meantime.
about?
The Raider Stadium, Las Vegas.
Well, of course they won't play there. They're going to play at T-Mobile if they were to play
Right, yeah.
in wherever they play the. Yeah, I'm not not
That's
saying
right.
Vegas
Yeah, yeah,
isn't
yeah.
going to make sense, but of course it's just there's a lot of things going on, and the league likes to
Yep,
be the only show. It
I
wouldn't
agree.
surprise me if they say we've already got our Vegas experience in with these two other items. Let's head to
Yeah,
you
that
mentioned
makes sense.
college
I got you.
basketball. Let's head to it where there's some rumors, some whispering that Kelvin Sampson down in Houston just might be on the hot seat. The reigning American Conference champions struggled last season in their out of conference play. They ended up winning about 20 games. They ended up winning the American. They ended up losing the first round of Hoopsteria. Is it valid? Should Kelvin Sampson's job be in trouble if Houston struggles this season?
So I'm. This is where offensive leader is going to come into play because I don't honestly know, Marsh. I mean, when you look at what happened last season, yes, they did some out of conference, but they did manage to, like you said, win the American Conference Championship tournament. That's a good thing. Yes, they did get bounced out of the first round of Hoopsteria, but they have a lot of talent there at the same time too. So I am a little conflicted on this as to why he would be rumored to be on the hot seat. But the only reason I could see for it is because of the talent he has there, and that they're expecting more than what they're getting from Kelvin Sampson and this regime at Houston right now. So do I think it's valid? Not necessarily given what's been going on, but I can understand why.
Well, I think you're spot on. The reason is that they aren't meeting expectations, right? Okay, so yeah, they won the American Conference last season. The American Conference looks much different this year
Yeah.
with the introduction of Davidson and the introduction of Jackson State. This conference got better because the second best team last year's conference was Memphis. They did not have to play them in the conference tournament because USF took care of them and blew them out by 20 in the first round of the conference tournament. So they got a nice cakewalk through Tulane and UCF, the 4 and the 3 seeds in the semis and the finals. This was not a team that was challenged much in American Conference play, and that shows up. They were 23 and 11 overall to end the season. That includes their playoff wins. That includes their loss in the Hoopsteria. However, that also includes the fact that they started as a 500 team. They got blown out by Kentucky when they kicked off the season, and they didn't play good basketball when they were playing against good competition. They had to instead stack their wins against teams like Tulsa, Cincy, Wichita State, USF, UCF. These were not teams that go toe to toe with them and provide any type of a challenge for what they're doing. And here they are now. That's why this is going to be a potentially hot seat moment for, as we bear with us through some technical camera issues here, as they look at a potential hot seat moment for Kelvin Sampson because they did not have a good season when they were dealing with high level competition. B-Ron's back on camera. We appreciate the patience as we work through that. I've got the spinning bar of death. So B-Ron, Kelvin Sampson on the hot seat. Your final thoughts on that?
Yeah, so like I said, I think I can understand why. I don't necessarily um agree with the decision as of right now. But I do think that if they do start off poorly, if they do continue to struggle, out of conference again this season, and if if they don't perform in the American as well, then yes, he should definitely be on the hot seat at that point in time. Right now, I'm not ready to go that far just yet, but I can understand why he's there.
All right,
Or
let's
why the
move
rumors are
to
there anyway.
Yeah, let's move to California, where Mick Cronin has said that he believes that LeGerald Carroll is the best shooter in SimWorld U. Do you think that is a true statement from one and only Mick Carroll or Mick Cronin? Excuse me.
So Yes, but I do think he has some competition for that title. I think especially from a few freshmen coming in, Cam Jones, Aiden Weaver, Charles Pinkard come to mind. Now, granted, those are more unknown entities in SimWorld U, so I can understand why you would go with one established like Gerald Carroll in that conversation. Plus, he's your guy, so I can understand that. But I do think he has some competition for that title for now. Yeah. I do think there's some competition for that title as far as being the best shooter in SimWorld. Like I said, because of those guys like Cam Jones and Charles Pinkard and Aiden Weaver, Ethan Letterman is there too. Like there's so many talented shooters in SimWorld U right now entering that Gerald Carroll might not be able to hold on to that that title for very, very long, especially if these new kids come in here and light it up. Because we know in college basketball, especially, the amount of shooting that you have can definitely impact your team. If you have a great shooter on offense, they're gonna get their points, man. They're gonna get their time, and it's gonna be a benefit to everyone involved. And Gerald Carroll in his own right, really, really great shooter back when he played in SimWorld Prep from 3-point range, and he was just very, very active. You're seeing some of the clips here, but he can shoot the ball for sure. Just a matter of how effective can some of these new people be entering the league if they can make a dent in that conversation for sure for Gerald Carroll, and if he can be that top shooter and hold that for the rest of the season, perhaps. I think we have March back with us now. I think we do. March. Not yet. That's fine. Look, I'll keep going. I'll keep going here. Look, UCLA though. Just talk about them for a minute. I think UCLA is going to be a dangerous team this season, especially in the Pac-12. They are incredibly deep, and I think that they're the best team in that conference. And with Carroll's help and his shooting ability, I do definitely think that there is going to be a lot of good things to cheer about for UCLA with Gerald Carroll, JJ Ortega, Jalen Snow being there. There's a lot of talent on that Bruins team, and I'm excited to see the play and excited to see how much, in fact, Gerald Carroll can help them out and go forward. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the final topic of the show this morning. Villanova's duo of Aaron Lovejoy and blanking on the name for a minute here. My apologies. And Justin Bell.
Boom, boom. Sorry, we're testing mics over here. I didn't know if it was working or not. I apologize for that. You were leading us in nicely there, B-Ron. But yes, the statement was made that a SimWorld U scout thinks Aaron Lovejoy and Justin Bell are going to be the best combo in SimWorld U. That seems like high praise, maybe more so on the Lovejoy.
Yeah, I did. So I think that there is some competition for that kind of talk, especially within the Big East itself. I have a list of some duos here that I think could be good, if not on the same level, perhaps. Not all of them, but these were just names that I took out from each team in the Big East. For UConn, you've got Free Redmond, Norman Nations. For Xavier, you've got Mooney and Maccabee. For Creighton, the new duo of Chisholm and Ethan Letterman. Che King and Keyshawn Shipp for St. John's. The reunion of Marcus Lifott and Alex Rodriguez from Marquette. Jai Hobson and Anve Stoltz for VCU.
B-Ron, yes. None of these people are better combinations than Justin Bell and Aaron Lovejoy.
No. I was just going through some other duos in the Big East that
competition.
Yes, right, exactly. Yes, right.
Well, then it's a super small or low bar because they are not they should be the best duo in in Big East. But
yeah, in the Big East, yes.
Quote I believe the quote was SimWorld U. Am I mistaken in that? Let me. Oh no, I stand corrected. It was in the Big East. Okay, sweet, low bar. I mean, Jesus, bro, that is
Yeah.
about as easy of a combination. They're gonna walk in. Justin Bell alone is the best duo in the Big East. What are we talking about? I'm sorry. I thought this was a national conversation, but it's not. It's a Big East competition.
Yes.
Thank you. Keep
Yes.
keep reading the names of people that aren't better than Justin Bell. A top 5 recruit. This is the best player in the Big East. Of course, this is the best duo in the
Yeah.
Big East. Sweet comment, but I mean, look around the conference. There's not a team that's got a combination better. You are absolutely correct.
Yeah, yeah. This is one that's one of those easy ones to look at and say, yeah, they got it in the bag, you know? I really think that Villanova is going to be a team on the rise this season, especially in the Big East. I think they make some noise. And he'll surprise some people this season, especially with, again, Justin Bell and Aaron Lovejoy on the same team. That's going to be really, really fun to watch, man. We know Justin
It
Bell can
really
go
is.
get his buckets.
It can. I mean, there was some comments about him being a little that some folks were a little concerned about his size. The guy's what 219. He's a big dude. I am not concerned about his size being a challenge for him. His strength being a challenge for him at the next level. I think this is a team that's going to be built around him. I think Aaron Lovejoy is a fantastic complement, especially with his physicality. I just want to say one thing as we wrap up here, because you were able to take the reins on the Gerald Carroll comment. I would just say two things. Trey Turner still
Yes,
exists
thank you. That's what
in
I forgot too. Thank you.
View.
Yes.
Are we forgetting
Yes.
that he is a 60% shooter from deep in high school? Um, he's the best shooter. Appreciate the hype, Mick Cronin, but there's just no way that Gerald Carroll is a better shooter right now than Trey Turner. All right, thank you for joining us here today, B-Ron. Appreciate you being on. Always great to see you. Remember to make sure that you are subscribing, hitting the like button, making sure you're tuning in for all SimWorld content, not just SimWorld today. Appreciate you dealing with us through some technical difficulties this morning. We'll be back as always tomorrow morning. Where we're going to keep on rolling through here the month of September. B-Ron, again, thank you for coming on. We'll have a special guest tomorrow morning as well here on SimWorld today on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.
This has been a presentation of SimWorld Sports.